Coronacast comedy show is starting imminently. It's starting in 2 minutes. Starting in 2 minutes. Coronacast comedy show is starting in 2 minutes. 2 minutes. If you are joining the stream, welcome, welcome. Just let me know if it sounds good. Let me know if it looks good. And the show is going to now start in 1 minute. This is the comeback show after a little bit of delay. Coronacast comedy show is starting in 1 minute. Just put in the comments if I sound loud and clear. And the show will start imminently. Imminently. Welcome, everybody. The show is starting. Excellent. Let's get started. Okay, here we go. Let's get rid of that. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Coronacast Comedy Show. Welcome to the Coronacast Comedy Show. If this is your first time tuning in, you've been missing out, right? This is probably like episode 127. This is a show which started when the coronavirus ended all live performances in the UK. I am a stand-up comedian. I need an audience. It's how I make sense of the world. So I began broadcasting this. I thought I'd be doing it for maybe 3 weeks. Here we are, started in March, kicking it in August. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a show where I entertain you, the people of Twitch, people of Facebook, people of YouTube, wherever you are watching me from. Welcome. All you need to do to enjoy this show is listen to the jokes, laugh, be responsive. I am a man sitting in a living room, or standing in a living room currently, telling jokes. So I need LOLs, I need questions, I need comments, and we'll all have fun. Can we do this? I think we can. This is an interesting episode. It's a comeback episode after the Thursday Coronacast comedy show went horribly awry. Okay, so I was going to do a Coronacast. I do it every weekday, and I was going to do it last Thursday. And just before the show, I had an accident. I had a tongue accident. I bit into my tongue. There was blood everywhere. It was horrible. I had to go to accident and emergency. And it was so much pain. Any of you who have wounded your tongue know that it's an absurd amount of pain. And I couldn't perform like my tongue falling off. And so I didn't perform on Thursday, didn't perform on Friday, of course, because I was this thing. As the show on Friday would have been me talking like this. I couldn't do that. Took the weekend off, and now my tongue is back. My tongue is back. And I've got to tell you, I've enjoyed having a tongue again. So today's episode is all about the tongue. I'm doing an episode about tongues. Now, in between each section of the show, I'll take a look at the chat. So don't worry, I'm not ignoring you. So I've got to tell you this. Having a tongue, after a few days, when my tongue was injured, I've started to celebrate having a tongue, right? Celebrate a tongue. I've been doing things with my tongue just to celebrate having my tongue back. Like, I've been licking everything. Like I'm Miley Cyrus. Just, I'll lick. I'm so good to have my tongue back. I'm licking everything Miley Cyrus style. I lick my fingers. I lick to the top of the bottle. I'm licking everything, right? So this is an episode all about the tongue. One of the things which I looked into was tongue twisters. Ladies and gentlemen, what's your favorite tongue twister? Put it in the chat, right? I think it might be she sells seashells at the seashore. But when you think about this tongue twister, it doesn't make sense. It does not make sense. Because if you think about it, makes sense on a financial level, but she is not maximizing her economic potential. Because she is selling seashells on the seashore. There are loads of shells on the seashore. She cannot charge premium prices. If she was a clever woman, she would sell seashells in the city center. Or perhaps if she was extremely intelligent, she would sell seashells on the top of a mountain. This is all I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen. This is what I've been thinking about. And one of the first things I'm going to do as part of this special tongue episode of Coronacast Comedy Show is I've trolled through all of the songs which have tongues and licking in them, and I've come up with the top 5 songs. The top 5 songs which have licking or tongues in them. Okay? So we start with number 5. Number 5, Lil' Kim. How many licks? Okay? The lyrics are how many licks does it take to get to the center of the question mark? It doesn't ever tell you to, right? I think we can guess what she's probably talking about, but it is not verified. She could be talking, it could just be an ode to ice cream, right? It could just be an ode to something that way. But how many licks, because it is very vague, is number 5, okay? Number 4, Ludacris, okay? In What Your Fantasy, Ludacris says, I wanna lick you from your head to your toes. I wanna... Now, the only reason that this is only number 4 is because, think about it. He says he wants to lick you from your head to your toe. That he thinks that's sexy. That's not sexy, right? Because you've got erogenous zones, but you've got all sorts of other things between your head or your toe. So when he's licking your forehead, I don't think that's turning you on. When he's licking your nose, I don't think that's turning you on. Yes, maybe when he's like on breasts or when he's on a clitoris, that's good. But there are lots of moments. When he's licking your chin, you are just giggling. Right? So Ludacris, I'm sorry, you're only at number 4 because the song sounds good, but you cannot just lick a person from the head to the toe. You gotta take a moment. You gotta, you gotta pick your spots, okay? Number 3, ladies and gentlemen, I actually think is a direct response to Ludacris. So Ludacris was going, I wanna lick you from your head to your toe. Kia was like, you can't just lick people from your head to your toe. So Kia wrote a response song saying exactly where she wants to be licked. It's lick my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack. She's very specific, not head to the toe, these 4 specific zones, right? I will admit the 3 of those zones are probably more fun to lick than the 4th one, but either way, the girl is making an order, and it's up to you whether or not you want to respond. Number 2, ladies and gentlemen, number 2, I've got to give it to Lil Wayne, right? Lollipop, right? Lick me like a lollipop. He's talking about a woman who wants to lick him like a lollipop. Why does he cut this number 2 spot? Because the full line goes, she licked me like a lollipop. I let her lick the rapper, right? He's a rapper. Rappers, lollipops, for the pun, he gets number 2 because I appreciate the wordplay. But of course, number one of the lick songs goes to Jodeci. Jodeci freaking you for let me lick you up and down till you say stop, right? Because way beyond their time, as much as Jodeci was singing about licking woman up and down, they put a consent lyric in. The moment she says stop, they're stopping, right? I gotta tell you, most of this genre of music is not as woke as this, so they're gonna get the number 1 spot, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, so that's the top 5 lick songs. The top 5 lick songs, and let's take a moment to see what's going on in the chat. Hello, chatters. Hello. Here we go. I sound lispy. You're sounding loud and clear. I'm glad. I'm feeling better. I sound lispy. I think my tongue's got a little, it's not perfect, but if there's a little bit of lisping, I am not in control. Hello to you, Sarah Hall. Hello back to you. Good to have you in the house. Hello. Did I lick the panda? I did not lick the panda. I gotta tell you, I licked a lot of things. I did not lick the panda. Okay. They say if you bite your tongue, you'll eat meat the next day. This is a very weird superstition because I eat meat almost every day. So I do not know necessarily where you heard that. Okay. Navi says Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. That's your favorite tongue twister. The only thing about that is, do you know what a peck? A lot of people do not know what a peck is, right? A peck is, let me check. I actually looked into this. A peck is a quarter of a bushel or 8 cubic inches. And you got to admit, if it was more specific and people could understand it, it wouldn't be a good tongue twister because it would be like Peter Piper picked 8 cubic inches of pickled peppers. It just doesn't roll off the tongue. But I'm glad you enjoy that, 8 Navi. Excellent. Has Panda fallen over? No, Panda is trying to look at the sky. Panda is trying to look at the sky. That is what is going on. Because if you look over there, you'll see there is a beautiful skyline, and the panda is looking up at that skyline in the painting. Okay. Sarah Hall, my flatmate, is enjoying the show. She was laughing. If you want to pass, just pass.
I'm gonna go get pickles.
She's gonna get pickled. She's gonna get a peck of pickled peppers.
Yeah.
So my flatmate is off to get pickles. Okay, let's keep going. Here we go. Ahmed Rami says that involves the armpit. You do not want anybody licking your armpit. I fully understand where you're coming from, but there's probably 1 or 2 people who are into that. No judgment on the Coronacast comedy show. Okay? Please stop. You're freaking out of this. Yes, Hirt, I'm glad you enjoyed the freaking song. Okay, you already missed a lot. Oh, you missed being in Jacqueline. Do not worry, you only missed a little bit. That's a little cough. That is not Corona. Let me get a drink, and then the show will continue. The special Coronacast comedy about tongues. I cannot speak of tongues without speaking of speaking in tongues. Speaking in tongues. Now, I have actually done on television a joke about speaking in tongues. I'll tell you the joke, and I'll tell you a little fact about it, right? So the joke, for anybody who doesn't know it, is a joke about being in an African church where somebody starts speaking in tongues. They get up and they go, I don't know what it meant. Then I moved to the UK and I realized it was Welsh. Okay? I did this joke. I got all sorts of angry messages from Welsh people for insulting their beautiful tongue. What people don't understand is that joke, the language changes depending on where I'm performing. When I was performing in Dubai, it was Arabic, right? If I was in South Africa, Venda, that is a choose your own adventure joke. But what I'm actually speaking about is speaking in tongues, otherwise called glossolalia. Glossolalia is the scientific term for speaking in tongues, which I think is a good term for speaking in tongues because it is so hard to say. It's a tongue twister in itself, glossolalia. Now, glossolalia is usually in a religious setting when people feel the Holy Spirit come upon them and they begin to speak. Now, there's one version of this where they speak languages they couldn't know, right? So, for example, you are in the middle of Malawi and suddenly in Malawi, you start shaking and you're speaking French, you're speaking Latin, you're speaking German, you're speaking Latins. You would not know, words you would not know, you've never learned, and you're speaking them. That's one version of speaking in tongues. The other one is you're making sounds. You're making sounds and words, which no one can quite understand what they are, right? Like, you don't know what language it is. They're speaking these words, and it is theorized that they're speaking the divine tongue. They're speaking the language of heaven. Of course, heaven has a language, right? Every place has got a language. Why should heaven have a language, you know? Like heaven's got a language, hell's got a language, right? If you want to hear hell's language, apparently you just play music backwards and you understand what it is. But that is the thing. When you hear these words, which don't have a particular meaning, it's possibly the divine tongue. But there must be some confusion, right? There must occasionally be some confusion, right? There must have been at least one case where somebody started speaking in tongues in a church and everybody was like, oh my God, I don't understand that. That must be the divine tongue, only to learn out it's actually Klingon. Kapla! He was clearly speaking Klingon. Or she. Okay? So that is speaking in tongues. Only thing I think about it is very hard to know if it is actually happening because it is probably the easiest miracle to fake, right? Because think about it. If you wanted to fake walking on water, you're going to need you're going to need George Lucas to come in and put in some special effects, or if you're going to try to do it, maybe you need, like a glass bridge. You need, it's very complicated. And see what I mean? Right? If you want to do the water into wine thing, you have got to hope you don't have anybody who knows about wine come in, right? Because you'll turn the water into wine. You try to fake it, people know if it's wine. Or even if you succeed, You might have some posh person who's tastes and says, "Oh, it's a very bad year. It's a very bad year." Galilee, -7 BC. So let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen, in my tale of tongues. My tale of tongues. Take a look at the chat before we continue. Hello, you are Welsh and you laughed, Michaela Evans. I'm glad you enjoyed that. Excellent, excellent. Sean says, you live in Wales now, still funny. Glad you enjoyed. Okay, let's keep it going. Glad you're all laughing. You are very welcome, and I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Let us keep going, ladies and gentlemen. How did I bite my tongue? Talking about bite my tongue. A lot of people are like, how did you get this tongue injury? Now I gotta admit to you, it was a dumb injury. It was a dumb ass injury. One of the dumbest injuries of my life. I literally was biting a tough bread roll. Yes, a tough bread roll, which was bought from Asda. Now, I wish I was living in America. Because if I was living in America, I would sue them. You can burn yourself with coffee and sue the place. I would sue them. I would win. In the UK, they're going to laugh in my face if I try to sue them. So I had a very tough bread roll. I was trying to bite into it. And instead of biting into, actually, I bit through it. And then I bit through my tongue. Such a dumbass injury. And I actually have a history of dumbass injuries, right? When I was 3 years old, I broke my arm. How did I break my arm? I was on a swing. I was swinging it up. They were playing football nearby. Someone kicked the ball. It hit me, knocked me off, broke my arm. Dumbass injury. I once broke my tooth. How did I break my tooth? I walked into a glass door without realizing the door was there, broke my tooth. Total dumbass. You know, I gave you the list of the top 5 songs with lick in it. I've made another list, ladies and gentlemen. The top 5 ways that I could have injured my tongue, which would have been much more impressive. Okay, number 1, right? Imagine I had come to you and I said, I injured my tongue by tripping while I was trying to save a cat. Now, why didn't I choose trying to save a little child or something like that? Because think about it. It's the internet. People love anything to do with cats, like a fat cat, a cat dancing. It's all about the internet. The internet believes cats are worth more than kids. Just look at it. Look at how many likes a cute cat gets and a cute kid gets. I don't understand what's going on. Cats have very good public relations, okay? Number two, okay? A cunnilingus related injury, right? If I was doing some kind of, going down on somebody and she jerked and kicked my face and I cut my tongue, I got to admit, that would be a better story. It would also mean that I am a tender lover, right? Actually, you know what? I got to tell you, I've been talking about tongues ever since I started my stand-up comedy career. Any of you who know me from when I was in Canada know a joke from very early in my career when I was not that good a comedian, but my closing gag used to be, let me see if I really remember, is like, some men, I used to be much more high-pitched, some men do not go down on women. Some men never go down on women. And why not? Why not? Because they say that pussy smells and tastes like fish. Well, I like fish. What kind of fish? Tuna fish? Salmon? Tilapia? Oh my God. Forgive me. This was around 17 years ago. I didn't know how to write jokes yet, but that was early Deliso. So cunnilingus would have been a better way to get the injury. Number 3, wouldn't it be impressive if I was trying to speak Zulu, right? And I was trying to execute the clicks. I was trying to, and the sikelo, and I was trying to do the clicks, and I put so much oomph behind it that I ruptured my tongue. It's very far-fetched, but it would be impressive. Number two way I think it would have been more impressive for me to rip my tongue in half would have been if I had got a piercing. I had pierced my tongue. Right? Right? Trying to look rock and roll, right? Pierce my tongue, and then I walk past the world's strongest magnet and rips off. Very painful, but it'd be dramatic, right? And finally, the number one way, which I actually wish had been the way that I had actually ripped out my tongue, was if I had been doing a childish gesture to mock Boris Johnson, Prime Minister of the UK, and while I'm doing this, a pigeon flew by at a high speed. Now, I know you've never seen a pigeon flying at a high speed. This is why it would make it an even more amazing story. So I'm going, pigeon comes, rips my tongue. Number one. Unfortunately, it was not one of those. I lost a battle with a bread roll. Bread roll 1, Deliso 0. When I ripped my tongue, when I bit into my tongue, it was lots of blood, absurd amount of blood. I had to go to accident and emergency. And I will say, I don't know if any of you have been to accident and emergency during the time of Corona. They put in so much effort. I was very impressed to making sure you don't catch Corona when you're there for something else, right? To the point that it is the most complicated way. It's like you're playing a video game, right? Because you go into one room. I went into a sterilized tent. In the sterilized tent, you present like I got from 111 a text saying go to A&E, right? So I present that to them. They make me sit in one sterilized place, and then my number is called, and I go into another room to register. Then I register in that room. In between each room, your temperature is being tested, you're being resanitized. Then in that room, they list you for something. And then you go into another room, right? Because now I don't have Corona. I go into the room where the people who don't have Corona are now going to be segregated into what? And then you're in that room, you're sitting in that room. And then in that room, you get called up, and then you go to another room, right? Now I was in the ACU unit. And then in that room, you wait. Honestly, it legitimately was like some kind of bizarre video game. And the final level, you meet a doctor, right? So I played this video game. I was very appreciative that they cared how I was doing. It was actually like being in an immigration office, because immigration is go here, then go over here and get your photo taken, then go over here, then have an interview, then go over here, over there. I honestly expected at the end of my hospital experience to be deported from the UK, but thankfully I wasn't. A very lovely doctor looked at my tongue, said I was very lucky, I didn't need any stitches, and then just gave me lots of painkillers and things like that, and said, don't talk till at least Monday. And Monday is here, so I'm talking in your face. Okay, let's keep going. I avoided some things when my tongue was injured, right? Because this is an interesting thing which you don't realize. Now, I've done jokes about this in the past. When black stuff happens, right? The full joke is totally true, is that during Black Lives Matter, I became very high in demand, because when black stuff happens, especially bad black stuff, all the TV stations want to show that they're not racist, and they call you and they're like, hey, bring in your... So that's the joke. Now, I was asked to put in my 2 cents into a controversy, and I was able to avoid it because my tongue was split, right? Because there are so many things that I could not give a shit about, that because I happen to be black and a comedian, I get asked to give my 2 cents all the time. One of them was the proms. If you're not aware of this controversy, ladies and gentlemen, there is this annual concert called the Proms, which is a celebration of Britishness, I suppose, and it has people singing all sorts of songs. And some of the songs, the producers at the BBC who produced the show felt that these were very colonial lyrics, right? Now, these are lyrics talking about how, the Britons shall never be slaves, something like that. You can go look it up, right? So I actually do not give a shit. I don't know anything about this. There's so many things where I have no opinion. I don't care either way. And then I get called and I have to research it and I have to become angry about it so that I can talk about it on the radio. I called 4 British black people and I said, hey, what do you think about the proms and the lyrics? And they're like, what are the proms? I was like, but aren't we all meant to be angry about this? And they're like, I don't know. I called 3 black people, and then eventually I called one of my friends who was angry about it, but she's legit angry about everything. So she told me why people found it was offensive. But because I had a tongue split, I was able to, when I was asked, hey, do you want to come on the radio and talk about this? Do you want to come on this and talk about this? I was able to say, oh, I can't really talk. And then I didn't have, there's so many things, trust me, stuff I do not give a shit about that I get asked my opinion. I was asked today, what do I think about the fact that Adele took a picture with her hair and she's got like a Jamaican flag on her bra, and they're like, oh, she's got like Bantu hair. Am I offended? I could not care less, right?
What?
I could not care less. But someone called me and said, how do you feel about this cultural appropriation? Trust me on this. Personally, putting a flag on your tits, that is not appropriation. That is appreciation. Okay, that's appreciation. And if the Jamaicans are not happy with this, I am happy to provide Malawi flag bikinis, right? Which can be worn by people who want to appreciate the Malawi culture, or even better than that, let me not bring Malawi into this. Deliso, okay? I am willing to print my face, right? My face on bikinis. And you can wear them. And I will not say you're appropriating Deliso Chaponda. You are appreciating. Now, I know I'm making fun of something which some people take very sensitively, but I think you've got to look at the intent. You've got to look at the intent. She was having a ball of the time. It's carnival, right? It was meant in celebration. And if you actually are angry at Adele, just stick on Hello, right? Just stick on Hello. Listen to that song. The anger will fade away, right? Also remember, in Hello, the dude in the video is black. I don't know what point that's going. I don't know what that's part of the point, but it's true, man. It's true. She's been loving us since way back. Okay, let's keep going, ladies and gentlemen, to the next subject. Before I go to the next subject, let me look at the chat, see what my people have to say. Excellent here. Jacqueline Boland, did the doc recognize me? Yes, actually, not the doc, but the person who was checking it in. So I had a mask on, right? But the person who was checking me in, when I said my name is Deliso, D-A-L-D-A-L-I-S-S, he was like, Deliso Chaponda? And I was like, yes. And I felt so ashamed because, as I said, I had a dumbass injury. And I didn't want people to know that I had a dumbass injury. I actually felt like I was going in to buy porn or something. I should have worn a trench coat and a hat because I didn't want people to know how dumb the way in which I injured. But yes, the doc did, not the doc, but the person who was at the reception did recognize my name, if not my face. Okay, here we go. Elton Maps came to relax, ended up cracking your ribs. You're very, very welcome. Glad you enjoyed the gag. Sean A says, Deliso bikinis, yes. Once I get them made as my merchandise, you better buy them. They'll be all sizes. Deliso does not discriminate. You'll be the model. Hell, I'm printing them fast. Okay, let's keep going. Next up, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Glad you enjoyed it. And yes, Lightning Shuriken says merch is needed. Excellent. Let's move on to the next subject, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, had a dumbass injury. Now, if you hear some sound in the background, that is because my flatmate is cooking. So that is why there's occasional spitting and the sound of oil. And whatever is cooked, I'm going to lick it. Because I got a tongue. I'm going to lick it. Okay, sorry. I'm an idiot. Okay, here we go. According to doctors, I was saying, am I the only person who has dumbass injuries? No. These are the most common dumbass injuries. Okay? 1,700 people last year were struck by a cow.
Cows are big, though.
Struck by a cow. Struck by a cow, ladies and gentlemen. And I've got to tell you that I don't think we know the whole story, right? What were they doing to the cow before they got struck? I'm not implying anything, but I would like to know further information because one or two of these injuries may have been people who deserved to be struck by the cow. Next up, 25,000 people, 25,000 walked into a piece of furniture. Okay, I can see how that happens. You trip over something, you hit on saying 17,200 people walked into a wall. Okay, I can see that happening. But by far, the most bizarre is 10,000 people accidentally bitten by another human being. Now, come on now. How does someone accidentally bite you? Okay, I call bullshit. These are people who have been involved in some kind of kinky game and it has gone wrong. Don't say that it was an accident. They bit you too hard. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I've said all these jokes, but I have to tell you that it was very interesting what happened, right? Because on my Facebook on Wednesday, right, I was a little bit down. Right? I was a little bit down, a little bit depressed, which happens sometimes during lockdowns, Corona. All of us are living a very different kind of life. And I was stressed out. And I just, in a moment, just wrote on Facebook, right? Oh, it's getting hard to stay motivated, right? And I just sort of was vomiting out how horrible I felt. Sometimes you feel like it, right? Only problem is, there is no way to put on it. I actually think they need to put like a red alert, green alert, orange alert kind of thing on it. Because when you have one of these moments where you're just saying, I feel bad in this moment, people will assume it's like intervention time. I felt like the boy who cried wolf because suddenly all sorts of people started contacting me, making sure I was okay, which I appreciate, right? I appreciate all these people, but it really felt weird when like I'm a little bit depressed and my friend who's on antidepressants and is barely coping is calling to check, are you okay, Deliso? Don't give up. It was just one of those things like, you appreciate the concern and you want the concern, but you immediately have buyer's remorse when you get this outpouring. When you're like, oh, I wasn't actually that down. I just had a wobble. And then the day after putting this out, right? The day after saying it's getting hard to stay motivated, I have a tongue injury. I bite my tongue. And some people put it together in their head that Deliso has tried to kill himself.
What?
I know. And look, I appreciate the concert, but if I was going to kill myself, I'm not going to. This is not a cry for help. But I'm just saying, I wouldn't do it by biting my tongue. I wouldn't like try to bite my tongue. But I appreciate all the concern. And it got me thinking about why. Why did I get all this concern? It's very appreciated. Thank you so much. But it also got me thinking about maybe part of the reason I got all this concern is because of my nature. Because this is not the first time this has happened, right? Around 12 years ago, right? I had too many emails in my inbox, right? And so I started answering them. And I said, hey, don't answer this for 5 days. Don't answer this for 4 days. Because I felt that way. By the time I'm answering it, I've not been overwhelmed by the responses. And somebody, actually my family, read this as he's going to kill himself in 5 days, right? And then they set up all kinds of intervention kind of things. People flew over to check I was okay. And I appreciate it because it meant they care about me. But it also got me thinking, why am I someone who anytime I say that, oh, I'm having a wobble, oh, I'm feeling a little bit down, or I say, hey, I'm going to email you back in 5 days, people assume the worst, right? And I'm not saying I don't want the concern, but why do people assume the worst? And this is where I've got to take ownership and say, because like a lot of men, I live the life of a spy, right? What do I mean I live the life of a spy is we don't talk, right? We do not talk about what is going on in our lives. We do not talk about what is bothering us. We are like spies, right? I could tell you, like I could be being tortured. I could be being tortured by a girlfriend, right? Under duress. She's got a drill and says, do you love me? Do you love me? I'm like, I'm not saying nothing. I'm taking it to my grave. I don't pour out my feelings, right? I could be being tortured by someone saying, hey, are you depressed, Deliso? Are you sad? Sometimes like, I'm happy. I'm always happy. And this is the problem. A lot of men, especially African men, we do not say what we're feeling about things, right? We make it like a puzzle. We make it People never know because every time you see me, I'm smiling. I could be depressed. I could have like bereavement in my life. I could have just been broken up with yesterday. Today, I'll be laughing and smiling because I hide, and it's not a good thing to do, which is to hide what is inside. So I'm going to end today's Corona cast with a different list, right? So we've done the 5 best lick songs. We've done the 5 best ways Delisa could have injured himself. We're going to end it with the 5 top uses of your tongue that is not injured, okay? Number 5. Oh, sorry. Maybe it's only 3. I wanted to make 5, but I didn't make 5. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 3, and you can come up with 2 more, okay? So number 1, express what is bottled up, okay? If you have got something bothering you, tell somebody, tell the internet, tell a friend, call people. That is a very good use of your tongue, ladies and gentlemen. Get using your tongue for that. Number 2 best reason for use of your tongue is ask how other people are doing, right? Especially in this time when a lot of us, especially if you have a friend who's doing the old Corona living alone, they could be going mad in the head. I'll admit I was going mad in the head for around 2 months. Give them a call, check how they're doing. A lot of people suffer in silence. And then number 3, the number 1 use of your tongue is, of course, cunnilingus, people, right? You got to do it. You got to lick, 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 lick. I like fish. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Coronacast. Let me see, before I go, what your 2 other number uses are for the tongue. Okay, let's see how we're doing. Sean A says, is my roommate forcing me to be on camera? Stick out my tongue if I am in danger. No, I am here willingly. And almost, actually, I have got to tell you, a lot of people, when I said I am lacking motivation, a lot of people messaged me and said, you're pushing yourself too hard trying to do this Corona cast every day. What they don't understand is it's actually the opposite, right? The Corona cast is keeping me sane, right? It's giving me purpose. It's driving away the depression. So I'm going to keep doing this until I can do shows again because it gives me a reason to not wallow. But I appreciate, as always, all the messages telling me to take it easy. Okay, thank you so much. Maxie says, you sent me an image in Messenger of Deliso's bra. Wow, I appreciate your very, very quick Photoshop skills. I look forward to seeing the Deliso bra, okay? Sean A says, licking ice lollies is the number 4. I agree with you. That is a very good use of your tongue. And final, number 1 reason, we don't have it. So if you are a woman, women can cunnilingus each other.
Yeah, you fucking 1950s weirdo.
As somebody said, but no, lick something, lick anything. If you are not into cunnilingus, just lick. If there's any message that me with a re-healed tongue can say, is just keep licking. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Coronacast Comedy Show. I will be back tomorrow with more comedy. Hope to see you all then. This has been fun. It's good to be back. Ciao.